Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. And this is a one-shot that two players played with me, Norman and Reggie. We used the DC Adventures tabletop role-playing game published by Green Ronin, and we also used the Marvel Superheroes Adventure tabletop role-playing game, which uses the Saga card-based system. Norman played Green Arrow, and Reggie played Hawkeye. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the events that happened in that one shot. So at this point, what happens is we started the game on Earth 616 on the Marvel side, and Reed Richards is at the headquarters for the Fantastic Four, and one of the people who works there comes and says, "Reed, there's someone here to see you." So Zorn is brought in. Zorn is escorted in to see Reed Richards, and he says, "Hey, Reed, thank you for seeing me. I'm a member of the X-Men, and I have and I've been really concerned because I haven't seen the Hulk lately, right?" And Reed kind of like does a double take and goes, "Well, if the Hulk is missing, then the Avengers would take care of that." And Zorn goes, "Well, actually, I have my own file. I track the Hulk." And Reed Richards says, "What?" Like, that's kind of weird. And Zorn goes, "You're not wrong. It's not weird. But I keep a scrapbook about the Hulk, right? And so, I can tell you right now he's missing. And I can also tell you that if the Avengers have done anything about it, it hasn't worked, right? So I'm really concerned about him, and I want to know where he is, right?" So at this point, Reed Richards begins to investigate, where the Hulk is, right? Now, he's already talked to his wife, Invisible Woman, about the time she spent on Earth Prime assisting Forge in freeing Cyborg from being hacked by the Riddler. Okay, so he does. So the first thing Reed Richards does is he does a thorough search of everywhere on Earth 616, and then he spends another another week just making sure that Hulk isn't on any other planets, within the Earth 616 solar systems or the galaxy system surrounding it, right? And he comes back with a fairly clear answer that the Hulk is not anywhere on Earth 616 or any of the surrounding galaxies, right? So he gets back to Zorn and he goes, "You were 100% right. There is a serious concern. And hey, I'm bringing you in because I'm going to discuss what we're going to do about this with Doctor Strange." So Reed Richards calls back Zorn, calls Doctor Strange to him, explains the situation, and Doctor Strange says, "Okay, I trust your research. We definitely need to do something, and we need to send somebody to Earth Prime to see if the Hulk is on that side." Okay? So at that point, and Zorn's like, "Bet, I'm going. No problem. I'll go." Right, and both Doctor Strange and Reed Richards look at each other and they're like, "Nah, that's not the best idea. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, but we need to put somebody on who we're confident can handle this, right?" So Reed Richards says, "Actually, I don't know anybody that I would expose to that much danger that I think can get the job done." And Doctor Strange says, "That's not a problem. I know exactly who to call, and I'm gonna call in Hawkeye." So actually, Zorn and Reed Richards, they are like, "Yep, that's a great pick. Let's bring him in." So they do. Okay. Now Reed Richards, what he does at that point is he explains to Doctor Strange and to Zorn what's happening with these portals. Okay, so he explains that the portals are being opened from Earth 616, but nobody knows the source yet. Okay. Now, he also explains that because of the calculations he's done and the equipment he has a map of all the places where the portals have opened from Earth 616 to Earth Prime. Okay. But he's not sure where the next one will be. So at that point, they, all of them, realize that they're going to need to set up kind of some monitoring to monitor when the next portal goes through, okay? Or when the next portal opens from Earth 616 and to Earth Prime, okay? So they do this, and it takes them about another 3 days, but Reed Richards is able to locate the location where the next portal opens, and between Zorn and Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange is able to zip him right out there, and Hawkeye jumps through the portal. Okay. All right. So at that point, Hawkeye finds himself in Metropolis. Okay. He comes out and he's in costume, and actually, people notice him, but they don't make too much of it. And he's like, "Oh, whew, whatever's going on in this world." They're used to costumed superheroes, okay? And so he goes about his business, and the first thing he does is he actually borrows a motorcycle from someone, and he begins to go around Metropolis, right? Well, it doesn't take too long before he actually is approached. So he starts asking questions, and he is doing, he's talking to people at, different places and just talking to average Joes, police officers, and asking about Bruce Banner, but actually specifically asking about the Hulk, excuse me, and and people in Metropolis just kind of look at his purple and black uniform, don't really give him any clear answers, but he's only there about 6 or 8 hours, and he's only asked about a half a dozen people, when suddenly a beautiful woman in a black suit, like it looks like a business suit, but it has like a skirt, comes and says, my name is Alicia, and I represent Lex Luthor. He is a businessman here in Metropolis. Please come with me, okay? So Hawkeye's like, sure. Okay, so he goes with her, and they go to a fleet, like essentially a fleet of yachts. There's essentially 8 large yachts that currently Lex Luthor's on a big yacht kick. And so he is taken out on a speedboat to this yacht to meet Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor greets him and introduces him to Gorilla Grod, okay? And the two of them begin asking him about his world and why he's here, right? Hawkeye. And so Hawkeye doesn't know any better, and he says, he explains, that he came here to look for the Hulk. And so at that point, Lex Luthor says, you know what, we have a million questions about your world, but put all that aside. We know exactly what happened to the Hulk. The Hulk was killed in Gotham. There was one man who was responsible for his death. That man was Batman. He brought in 2 allies. He brought in 2 allies and one of his own enemies to kill the Hulk. So the Batman battled the Hulk in the streets for probably about 5 or 10 minutes, wore him down, gave him a few injuries, okay? But then the Hulk punched Batman and broke 26 bones on his left side, and the Batman and said, and the Batman fell onto the ground. At that point, the Hulk jumped into the air to finish the fight, all right? And Lex Luthor is telling this in high detail, and he's very careful to hide his enjoyment of telling the story, right? So he jumps into the air, and he's going to crush him when Wonder Woman and Nightwing come in, and they snatch the Hulk out of midair with reinforced steel net. They take those bat jets, and they fly them into the Gotham River right under the Westward Bridge. Okay. Once and those 2 bat jets are used to slam the Hulk into the ground underneath the Gotham River. Okay. Batman then used Killer Croc, who is one of Batman's enemies, to then, and then he used iron fence posts that he had gotten from the Gotham Zoo to spear Hulk multiple times to the bottom of the ground. So from minor wounds that he got from Batman, from being speared to the ground, and from being snagged in midair, the Hulk died from blood loss and drowning at the bottom of the Gotham City River because the plan of Batman was successful. Well, you know, Hawkeye's eyes go wide and he's like, oh my goodness, that is a terrible, terrible thing that has happened. That's horrible. I'm just shocked and appalled that this has happened, right? And he's like, well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your help. I am going to go about my business and go to Gotham immediately to battle Batman. And Gorilla Grodd says, oh, hey, I'd join you on that one, buddy. But we can't battle Batman. And the reason why is Batman is in an induced coma, right? And Hawkeye says, an induced coma? He says, yeah. So when he was healing afterwards, Batman, you know, his injuries were so great and his pain was so much that doctors felt that what would happen is if he continued to feel the amount of pain he was feeling, he would die from the trauma. Okay, so they put him into a induced coma so that he wouldn't suffer from his pain. So even if when he comes out of the coma, he's going to be completely, you know, he's still going to be healing. And Gorilla Grodd goes, now I don't know how you do things, Hawkeye, but when I take a man down, he's got to be hale and hearty before we have that fight. And Hawkeye's like, yeah, that's how I do it too, Gorilla Grodd. And Hawkeye then fist bumps Gorilla Grodd. And Gorilla Grodd goes, well, I'm really glad to hear that you are a man of honor. Okay. And that's, you know, and so at that point, Hawkeye says, well, you know, really got a lot to think about. And Gorilla, and at that point, Lex Luthor says, well, you know what's great to think on? He says, these pineapple and Kobe beef sliders, right? And so, you know, they then actually spend the rest of the evening just kind of having a nice evening talking about their different worlds. And Lex Luthor and Gorilla Grodd are very, very happy. And at that point, that's where I'm gonna cut this one, and I'll tell you what happened, the rest of what happened a little later. Thank you.